Did you know that the word pesto is derived from the Italian pestare, which means to pound or to crush? I think that's pretty cool. What do you think? As a tribute to that little piece of trivia I just shared with you, today we're making 3 kinds of delicious homemade pesto that you can whip up in under 5 minutes and have with anything that you wanted to. Well, I haven't actually tried them on dessert, but they're that good that I might try. We'll be using a different gadget for each recipe, but don't worry because you can swap between equipment and still achieve an amazing result. And with that disclaimer out of the way, I think it's time we got going to the kitchen. What is up, YouTube? It's always good to have you back in the kitchen. We begin our trio of pestos with a modern twist on crowd favorite pesto genovese, a beloved classic that typically cooks with copious amounts of olive oil that we're going to swap for an avocado. I find that this yields a cleaner taste and a lighter pesto, but I'm also curious to find out what you think. To a tow container, we're adding 2 handfuls or about 30 grams of basil leaves. Any smaller stems you can keep, any larger, tougher ones you're better off discarding. We're next cutting open a ripe avocado, the creamier the better, and scoring 1/2 several times all the way through, going from top to bottom, and repeating going across the cuts we just made to establish a crisscross pattern. We're scooping out the flesh using a spoon and adjoining it to our hand-picked basil leaves. Next up is a garlic clove, or 2 if you don't care about your breath, and we're moving in with 1.5 tablespoons of finely grated Parmesan cheese. Give everything a strong squeeze of lemon juice for some much needed acidity, about half a lemon should do it at this point. And we're adding a heaping tablespoon of toasted pine nuts. Last but not least, a touch of cold water to help everything run smoothly, and we're blending to our desired consistency, which can be adjusted for a thinner pesto with the addition of cold water or lemon juice. Conduct a taste test pretending you know exactly what you're doing and resort to an additional tablespoon of shredded Italian MSG, and that should do it for the seasoning. Transfer to a better looking vessel so that you have more washing up to do. And there you have it, avocado pesto genovese. This stuff is obviously great on pasta, but let's try something different. Smear a couple of tablespoons on a piece of toasted bread, or as many as you want really, it's your life, and top it off with some shaved parmesan or pecorino. A bit of sun-dried tomatoes for visual contrast and an acidic boost. A few precisely positioned basil leaves, because you can never have enough basil. And lastly, hit everything with a few cracks of black pepper. Oh boy, oh boy. I really do love this avocado pesto for its lightness that lets all the ingredients come through in harmony. But perhaps you're in the market for something less green. Don't worry, I've got you. I present to you pesto rosso. It's a sun-dried tomato-based pesto that is jacked on flavor. And since it would be rude to not make a single pesto without any pounding, we're making this one with the help of a pesto and mortar, to which we're adding 2 cloves of garlic, the leaves of 1 rosemary sprig, a pinch of corso to help grind things down and season at the same time, and lastly a couple of tablespoons of olive oil to grease the wheels. This is where we get to blow some steam, practicing our pesto and mortar technique, consisting of a healthy mix of bashing and grinding motions. One of the reasons I love this stew is there isn't really that big a chance of failure, just pound away. At the point of reaching a pasty look, we're going to add half of our sun-dried tomatoes or 50 grams and continue right where we left off. Granted, this recipe is slightly challenging if you have a smaller pesto and mortar, but even the more fun. When you're happy with the level of poundage, go ahead and add in the second half of tomatoes and beat the living shit out of those as well until you get to a sort of smooth looking deep bread paste. We're next adding 3 to 4 tablespoons of toasted flaked almonds, a tablespoon of capers, 1 or 2 tablespoons of grated parmesan, and a good bashing to infinity and beyond, and thinning out using olive oil, cold water, or a combination of both. When we're finally happy with the state of our pesto, we're adding a teaspoon of paprika, mostly for color but some added sweetness as well. Check for seasoning, and if everything is to your liking, move to yet another container. And there you have it. But what the heck do you do with it? Let's go for the classical pasta pairing this time. We're adding a couple of teaspoons of our pesto, or again, as much as you like, to steaming hot al dente pasta, and also adding a touch of reserved pasta water to help thin out the pesto. Mix well and add as much grated parmesan or pecorino as your heart desires and mix again. Plate up with some extra cheese and we're good to go. Just a couple of teaspoons of this pesto, plus obviously a good helping of parmesan, make this a delicious and easy to put together treat that can easily be scaled to serve more than one. For our third and final act, we're giving the refreshing combination of mint and peas the pesto treatment and turning it into a zingy and punchy dip. We're using a food processor for this one, to the bowl of which we're adding 200 grams of defrosted frozen peas. Go on, in you go. The leaves of 3 to 4 fresh mint sprigs, 1 or 2 tablespoons of grated parmesan, 1 to 2 tablespoons of toasted pine nuts, the juice of 1 whole lime, 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and we're lastly seasoning with salt. Close her up and we're blending for 30 seconds to something akin to a mushy peas consistency. Give it a taste to check for approval and transfer to a bowl if such has been granted. I admit I did eat quite a lot before I got to the bowl, so I'm running a little short, but please don't judge me. This was designed as a dip in mind, so dip we shall. Our minty pesto turned out to be super perky and brightens my carrot sticks, as I'm sure it would do with other dipping apparatus. But please don't take my word for it, make your own. Until next time.